If people don't understand you in French, it might not be your grammar. It might be one small sound that completely changes your meaning. You think you're saying one word, but a French person will hear something else. This happens all the time with my students. They say a sentence correctly, but I still don't understand. And when we fix this, suddenly everything becomes clear. Today, I'll show you the difference between et, and e, simply. Now, let's see the difference between the sounds. The sound et is commonly written with the letter e in French. This accent is called the accent aigu. But there are other letter combinations that can also make the sound e. Most common ones are er at the end of a verb, example, parler, to speak, or iz for the vous form, for example, vous mangez. The linking word et, meaning and, also use the sound e. Other examples are été, café, parler, vous mangez, et. The sound e is usually more open than e. It sounds a bit like the e in the English word bed. In French, this sound is often written with the letter e. This accent is called the accent grave. But other letter combinations can also create the e sound. The most common ones are ai, for example, français, which means French. ei, for example, 16, 16. Double consonants after the e can also make for e. For example, appel, to call. Other examples are très, very, père, father, mère, mother, français, 16, or elle appelle. Now let's talk about the third French sound, e, the regular e. This one is different from e and because sometimes you barely hear it at all. In French, this sound is called the schwa. It's a softer, more neutral sound. Listen carefully. Je, le, demain. Notice how the sound is very light? It's not or it's more like e. You often see this sound written with a simple letter e. For example, je, le, me, demain. But here's something important. In French, this sound is sometimes dropped completely. For example, instead of saying je ne sais pas, many native speakers would say je ne sais pas, or even je sais pas. This is one reason why spoken French can feel difficult to understand at first, because native speakers often reduce or remove the soft sound e in conversation. Quick listening challenge. Which word contains the soft e sound? Je or café? Je. Correct. So now, can you hear the difference between the three French e sound? Closed, et, open, e, and soft or neutral e. Here's a simple physical trick that can help you hear and pronounce these sounds more naturally. Don't think about grammar first. Think about the position of your mouth. For the e sound, your mouth is slightly tighter, your lips pull a little more sideways, the sound feels more focused, like eh. Now for eh. Your jaw drops slightly more, the mouth relaxes, and the sound opens up, like eh. For the e sound, everything relaxes even more. The sound is short, light, and neutral, like e. So the physical rule is simple. Tighter mouth, e. Open more mouth, e. Relax mouth, e. Now watch the mouth changes. Café, père, je. Again. E, e. Now you might be thinking, do these sounds really matter that much? Yes. Because in French, small sound differences can completely change how natural you sound, and sometimes they can even change the meaning. When learners don't hear the difference between and e, French starts sounding blurry, words blend together, native speakers become hard to understand, and pronunciation feels inconsistent. But once your ear starts separating these sounds, something important happens. French becomes clearer. You stop guessing. You start recognizing sounds patterns automatically, and your accent improves naturally because your ear is guiding your mouth. This is why strong pronunciation is not about sounding perfect. It's about clarity. Most learners spend too much time memorizing the vocabulary. But if your ear cannot hear the sound system clearly, speaking will always feel harder than it should. So don't just study French with your eyes. Train your ears. Because the moment you can hear the difference between e, and e, French starts feeling less random and much more predictable. All right, let's test your ears. I'm going to say a word and you tell me if you hear e, or e. Ready? First word, café. That's e. Next, père. That's e. Next, je. That's the soft sound e. Now, let's make it a bit harder. Which word contains the e sound? Parler or français? Correct, français. Which word contains the soft e sound? Demain or été? Correct, demain. And the last one. Which word contains the e sound? Très ou vous mangez? Correct, vous mangez. If some of these still feel difficult, that's normal. Your ear is learning new sound categories. The key is repetition and active listening. The more you train your ears, the more natural French pronunciation becomes. If you want to fix your pronunciation and finally feel confident speaking, I help students with this step by step on Preply. The link is in the description.